Welcome to Journey to Service. I'm William Laddick, and we'd like to welcome back Randall Kaiser, mayoralty candidate for Calgary 2021. How are you, Randall?
I'm kind of a little bit bushed out. She was a busy day today, William, but all in all, a great one.
I felt bushed too today for whatever reason. Actually, I didn't tell you this off camera, but I spent the afternoon watching a whole bunch of Hamid and Randall videos. I was catching up. So, not that it put me to sleep, but it just, the energy in it kind of was like a little overwhelming. There's a lot there. You guys go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we do. When you get Jenny on there with us, holy cow.
Yep.
Jenny Byers is one intelligent young lady and so connected. I mean, she's amazing. But Hamid, yeah, he's a lovely man. And, anybody that wants to go back, they're on our channels, either on, or most of them are on my channel, I guess, but not so much on yours, eh? Or on Dow.
They're actually, I think they're on his channel, on Hamid's channel, on Rumble, because you guys speak openly there, and there are things that you don't normally say on YouTube, so you can check that out. And we've got a little bit more news too. I'll mention this now since we're sort of a little bit off topic here, and then I'll reel us back in. But your book is now available on Amazon, so we'll be posting that in the description. We've even dropped the price to $9.99, which I know it was actually, I think that was a price you wanted at the very, very beginning when we started to look at that. So congratulations, your ebook is there, and we'll hopefully this week might even be able to get a print version available as well. So stand by for that.
Yeah, with Amazon, they can print as you go kind of thing. So we're working on that too, if you want to, paper copy.
Yep.
It's it feels good. And I mean, it's just more information for people. We're here to be transparent, and that's what we're doing. It's all about transparency with no hidden agendas. And, we can bust right into what happened today, talking on that topic, if you like, William, if you got something.
Absolutely. I was going to say, speaking of agendas, what was on the slate today?
Well, last week we had I think it might have been Tuesday of last week, the firefighters, I'm not sure the day, but it doesn't matter. But the firefighters met down in front of City Hall, quietly joined arms and stood in solidarity for an hour. Out of the sheer, how do I keep this? We got to be so careful with our words, and that's got to be a hint to you folks out there, how censorship is working in this media these days and how pathetic it is, But I will say that these firefighters were standing for their jobs, because if they don't do something, which we all know the governments want these people to do, these public employees and firefighters and nurses and everybody else, if they don't do that, they could lose their jobs. How insane is that? How utterly insane is that? So they stood last week, and there's a big memorial out in front of City Hall. It's beautiful. It's got engraving on it and writings and, memories of different fires. And there's one side for the police department, one side for the fire department. There's kind of memorials for some of the people. And each one of these young men and women walked up and put their hand on that thing as they walked past, all in quiet solidarity. It was beautiful. I didn't attend that one. I didn't realize it was happening, so I didn't know. So this same group said, okay, let's get together again on Sunday, which was today. And there was thousands, thousands of people. And it included firefighters, police officers. I spoke to many, some of them who were on stress leave because of all that's going on, nurses, just city employees of all different kinds. And then, people like the mayor was there. Oh, not that mayor, this mayor was there. I didn't see the other one there. I'm pretty sure he wasn't there. And, one thing that really bothered me, and I saw this happening, I was down at City Hall the other day too, was that these city workers were putting up a barricade around that memorial, like just plastic, don't get me wrong. It wasn't, walls and metal gates or anything, just plastic barricades, so that nobody could go near that memorial. How insane that was too, to do something like that. And I said to the boys, they were setting it up when I was there. And I said, I guess this is for Sunday. And the guy just dropped his head like that. And he said, yeah, It's kind of sad, eh? And I said, sad is right. You know, that is really sad that you're forced to do that by some city official who thinks that their own firefighters, by laying their hand on that memorial, were just, you know, disgracing it or something. Like, just insane. So anyway, get down there today, and I got there a little bit early, and there was another rally going on that side by City Hall, right? So there's a City Hall square that has a, you know, a concrete square where people can, you know, do their thing, I guess, you know, any kind of presentations. And there was a little group there doing a dance. It was a church group, I believe. So then I could see that the gathering was starting, and they saw that this was happening. So they said, well, let's go across the street to the Olympic Plaza. So there's a little bigger area across the street. And thank God we did, because like I say, the number of people would have overwhelmed that City Hall square by oodles, you know, it just wouldn't handle us. So got there, and they were doing their speeches and whatnot. And I put up a little video, a couple of little videos, just short ones on my channel that you guys can relate to and see. But then they did a march down the streets quietly, not a bunch of speakers blaring, just a drum beating, and just a quiet march on the streets, on the main drags of Calgary, okay, downtown. McLeod Trail, 6th Ave, I believe we went down, and then came back down 9th Ave. It was the main core of Calgary, on the streets, and stopped the traffic today. And the police were helping us, okay? The police got all involved in this too and helped us to stop the traffic, stop the C train, okay? Because we had to go across the C train tracks even. And when that crowd left that Olympic Plaza, it grew and it expanded and it expanded until we got to the end. Some people say 2,000. I'm saying it was more than that, but I don't know. Like, it was a big crowd of people. I've never seen that in Calgary in my life, that many people standing up. It was just stunning. And the feeling that, you know, of energy, from calmness, from wonderful speeches talking about litigation that's coming against these government officials, from nurses crying about losing their jobs. Like, it was just an emotional event like you wouldn't believe. And they had to put the cameras on this because these are public employees. So we saw Global News, we saw CTV, we saw CBC. What they twist on this is up to them. That's their choice, but they had to come and see that, right? And there's hundreds of us, if not thousands of us, that did videos of it and are going to talk about it, because it was the most important rally we've seen since this whole agenda started, okay? So it was a beautiful day, William, and, you know, quite emotional to start with. A friend of mine, I talked, like I said, to some police officers and whatnot just before it started. And then when they got started, a friend of mine from outside the city, Kelly Ransom, came up, tapped me on the shoulder, said, I knew you'd find you here somewhere. So in my little videos today, you'll see Kelly and I. But it was, you know, we walked together, and then some other people that I knew and lots of other people. Obviously, I'm starting to, this thing is getting noticed, and people are saying hello to the new mayor and stuff like that because they know it's coming. And whether it comes for the whole city or not yet, we'll see. But I'm the mayor of this city and our group that is totally in favor of freedom, okay? There's no anti in this language, which the twisters might put on it, okay? We're totally in favor of freedom, and freedom from tyranny that's going to force you into something, okay? So I think we avoided any of the wrong words there, William, so we can move on.
All right, clean slate on that one, check. All right, we got that, about 50 minutes to go, so we'll have to keep watching carefully that we don't step on any of those landmines. The other thing I noticed too, or something just as a follow-up to that, I stumbled upon something that was shared on one of the Telegram groups that I follow, is that there's another rally that's going to be occurring in different cities throughout Canada next Saturday, I believe. Yes, Saturday, it's the 18th. And so they'll be doing something in Calgary, but they'll also be doing something here in Vancouver as well. So I think I'm going to be checking that out. So next week we can maybe even talk about that a little bit. Worldwide Rally for Freedom 4.0. So it's not the first time they've done it. So it'll be interesting how that one will go too. So how did it make you feel today when you were walking home or when you were done with the event? What kind of feeling was in the air, and what did you take from it?
Well, I'm really glad that my friend Kelly came along, because we got a chance to go for a A&W Mama Burger for $2.50 and one of those little root beers, because I like root beer at A&W too. Got to treat yourself once in a while. It's not Coca-Cola after all. But anyway, we went and had that. Then we actually went down to a park for a little while and kind of just zoned out, because it was high energy and emotion and stuff. So we sat down by the river and had a good visit this afternoon and calmed down. But it was a calming day. Yesterday I was off, I gotta say, and it was like discombobulated. And I think a lot of that is the amount of lies, the amount of deception that we've lived through in our lifetime, William, you and I, from the 20-year anniversary of an event that happened yesterday that outright murdered firefighters, outright murdered people in the destruction, the demolition of 2 towers, and a third that very few people talk about, Building 7, that was filled with paper that I talk about all the time, okay? Autographs and agreement paper that they had to destroy, okay? Because they destroy that all the time. They don't want paper trails to show how they're manifesting credit instruments and manifesting credit and then pretending that it's debt. They don't want paper to do that with. So building number 7 was filled with it, and kaboom, down she came along with the other 2 in that demolition. So yeah, yesterday was a little tough day. And I think it's tough for everybody, because the more of us that think about not just the thousands of people that died that day in New York, but the millions, okay, of people, or the hundreds of thousands at the very least. We can never, numbers I don't like to play with too much, because you don't know, because it's all media. But let's just say hundreds of thousands of lives that were lost in the Middle East after that thing happened, when George Bush and his gang and Dick Cheney went over there and stole the fucking oil fields from the Middle East, okay? Because that's all that was about. And don't tell me it was anything but, and I'm not talking to you, William.
Oh, no.
I'm just talking,
Not
because
taking
that's
it personal. No, I know it's not for me, but I do understand your I won't say anger, because I know that you're slow to anger, but your frustration and just the ugliness of it all.
It is ugly, and it comes up every year when we celebrate that anniversary, and we think in terms of how we're still fallen into that deception of that same government story that caused all that stuff in the first place, that led us down that deceptive path of telling us a story about a couple of planes that flew into concrete and steel buildings, and all of a sudden they fell down. How ridiculous and how insane that is beyond me. And now we've fallen into another flag, false flag as we call it, where we're being told that there's a chaotic thing happening to us and that we have the solution for you. Oh my God, it's just playing out again. And again, we can't talk about it because we'll get banned on YouTube. And I like to be on YouTube because that's where my audience is. It's just insane.
Yeah, definitely not a happy situation, but we move on, and we are in transition, and lots of good things on the horizon. Any news as far as being official at this point yet, or anything else that happened this week that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I'll tell you, William, this is where I get into that idea that we are in a world that is spiritual, mental, and physical, okay? And on the spiritual side, I just want to say a couple things there. Number one, and I was going to do it today, but I didn't get a chance. I thought these folks were going to stand quietly for, arm in arm again. And I was going to say a prayer while they did that and show a video, but I didn't get a chance for that artistic kind of idea that I had this morning. But what I want to say to people, as the mayor of Calgary, okay, when I'm the mayor of Calgary, we're damn well going to say a prayer every day that we meet, okay? We're damn well going to say a prayer. And you know that prayer. It's the Lord's Prayer, and it's an Aramaic version that I've said over and over again. And I think we'll save it and say it at the end of this one tonight, William, in memory and in commemorance or out of respect for the 9/11 murders and all of the people that were murdered because of that. So it's like, but that being said, some people ask me, what are you going to do as mayor of Calgary? Well, we're going to damn well pray at the beginning of every meeting that I'm involved in. And it only takes a minute or two, so why not? And if you don't like it, if you have religious views rather than the spiritual views that are going to be shown in this prayer that I'm going to say at the end of this, just spiritual views, not a religious thing, then tough beans, like it's just going to happen when I'm the mayor. So that's the one thing I wanted to say. On the other side, okay, as far as getting involved in the candidacy, I have not been paid by CRB yet. They came back to me last week and said, oh yeah, okay, yep, everything looks good now. You've submitted all the paperwork. I said, yeah, in April 17th, I submitted that paperwork. Yeah, we got that. And I'm the person who gets to look at it. I said, well, that's what, the last person said. Well, it only has to go to you. She says to me, no, I got to send it off to one more person for verification. I said to her, the bizarre nature of this goes beyond the physical. This is in the metaphysical realms. This is in the spiritual realms. In my world, it's divine timing. I'm not supposed to be in that candidacy until the last few days. That's all I can say to that. I don't know what else is going on, William. They owe me over $9,000 and it's drug out since April. And I qualify for every cent of that. And there's no debating it. So tell me that's not divine.
It's divinely mysterious. I'll tell you that much at this point. Yeah, it made me think of, I don't know, it made me think of multinational corporations' customer service. If you've ever dealt with any multinational corporations, which I'm betting everybody watching this has at one point in their life, they'll know what you're talking about, because it never seems to go, talk to one person, have a nice conversation, resolve everything, it gets cleaned up, it gets done. It seems like it has to go through one person, then another person, then another person, and then you have to re-explain each time out, and then they have to go and check with somebody else, and around you go. So I'm sure everyone can relate to that situation. And you know what? I can't say yes or no, but it must be divinely guided, because right now you're not officially official, but there's still next Sunday. And if you can't get it next Sunday, then you better do it Monday morning, because you aren't going to have another chance.
That's right, William. And I mean, I've got more people this week again saying, how much do you need? How much do you need? I said, I don't need anything, because I'm doing this myself. I'm not putting your money at risk. I know what a long shot it is for me to become the mayor of this city, speaking the way I do. So I'm going to just put that money on the table myself, and that's it. But William, I got to say now, like this last week, our funding, okay, for the Dow Energy Foundation, nonprofit organization that I'm the head of, and the Common Law Pure Trust, which I'm the managing director of in the common law jurisdictions. And please, folks, know that is above government, okay? Government is a corporation, and it's a pyramidal structure, just like William was talking about there. It's a pyramid, and it's nothing but, it's a corporate pyramid. That's what government is. There's not a sovereign government on this planet, on this plane of existence, however you want to put that one, right? So, you know, the fact that at the level of funding through these asset-backed off-ledger accounts that I've told stories about for the last few years, that is so there, William, so there. And I've heard again this morning, Sunday morning, why would I get a call Sunday morning from my inside connections to say, please, Randall, next week is huge. We're ready. We need you to submit a few more documents, one-page articles, please up the ante. Don't talk tens of millions of dollars, talk billions of dollars for project funding. That's what he said to me this morning. And he showed me account numbers, okay? Sent those to me to show me that these companies are already lined up with their account numbers. Our company's in there too, don't get me wrong. But he would like another letter. So I'm going to do that tonight or tomorrow morning. One-page executive summary of how we're going to distribute funds for projects around the world. And where I said to him, he says, high tech, anything you want. I said, you know me. I said, it's going to be natural food, natural remedies, eco villages. That is where we're going to fund, okay? Humanitad, get ready, Sasha Stone. Get ready, because if you haven't found it some other way, we're bringing you money. That's all I can say, bringing you funding. All of the ladies that I've been involved in, and no use naming them, but you know who you are. All of these ladies that are planning for these eco villages around North America, the Azores, wink, wink. I love you, Trisha. Jenny, I'm going to say Jenny's name down in Tennessee. I'm not afraid to say a few names. Christian, all you ladies, you better get ready because it's coming. And we're going to fund those projects, and there's going to be remedies that are manufactured and grown on those eco villages and distributed to the world. Bring in people for healing, for natural, regular healing, while this whole pharmaceutical implosion happens that we're seeing out there. Implosion. I mean, it's not just this little thing that we talk about that we're not allowed to talk about. The whole pharmaceutical industry is imploding. Anybody that has any faith in that thing after this is over is going to be coming to our healing centers. That's all I can say.
They're going to be in a whole world of hurt, so they need some healing pain. Can you give me an amen on that one? I'm just wondering if I mean, the thing that caught me by surprise is what your friend said. You know, don't talk in the M's, talk in the B's. And are you able to do that at this juncture of the process?
We are. We're set. I mean, you know, they know what we're talking about. This is not the credit system. This is not a standalone credit instrument coming to stand in our bank to open a credit line to build a tower. This is a fund asset-backed cash transfer, okay? So that doesn't happen anymore, okay? It hasn't happened since the 1970s. It's been all based on this autograph and agreement game of credit, okay? So asset-backed funds, small amounts, yes, people can send cash. MT103 is an actual term for a SWIFT message that contains cash from here to the Philippines for $500. Or if you can make it through with 5,000 and they don't hold you back, then $5,000, you know? There's other examples. I'm making it, you know, a little dramatic right now. There is cash movement happens at larger amounts, but not for the kind of stuff that we're talking about. That's all credit enhancement.
Are you at liberty and able to speak about the projects a little bit more? Like, you know, you've talked about yours a little bit before, but what about some of the other ones? Are you able to speak on those, or do you know them very well?
Yeah, like one of the partners in our nonprofit organization, Paul Simons, is in the UK, and people who want to be familiar with it, look up First Republic Registrar Foundation, FRRf, First Republic Registrar Foundation, yeah, and you'll see in there blog posts that Paul, who is an editor and an author. He's written books. You'll see our blog posts in there. You'll see documents that refer to claiming your sovereignty. If you want documentation to prove that you're a sovereign human being, you can go to Paul Simons and our First Republic Registrar Foundation and not only get the documentation, but have it registered, because we are a registrar as well. I think it's the only registrar in the world right now for sovereignty certification and common law pure trusts. Okay, so this is language that many aren't very aware of. So if you're wanting to learn a little bit about that language, then please go to First Republic Registrar Foundation. We'll put the link in on this one. It's something I've been involved with for a couple of years now. And like I say, we've got blog posts in there where we write things that won't get censored. We've got links to videos. It is a registrar and everything else that I've said. We are not denied by the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, the International Criminal Court, ICC, the United Nations, all of which have, two sides to them, right? There are good people in there and there's not so good people in there. Just like I say about the banking system and the banking families, and even I'll say it about governments, because there are some actual government officials like the Brazilian president who stood up last week and said some things that would have been banned on YouTube, okay? Would have been banned on YouTube, the Brazilian president, okay? So there's some good people in some of the governments out there too. Still corporations. I'm not going to say that they've switched over to being sovereign, but there are some good people. Are there good people in Canada? Well, we're hearing a name, Derek Sloan, a lot. I met Derek at the last little rally for the nurses down here in Calgary at the Foothills Hospital, and I'm planning on going again to that tomorrow. They're doing that again. The nurses are having a rally. And Derek and I had a couple of words. His mouth kind of dropped a little bit when I started talking about banking and how credit instruments and how this whole, idea of debt is just an illusion, and how Canada bonds are manufactured and manifested by the government. And he didn't know much about that. So he was listening, but his handlers wanted him to go off and talk to some more people after about the first 3 minutes coming out of this mouth, which can go on forever. So off they tootled and away they went. But, I have some respect for that man and his name. There is a man named Maxime Bernier, I believe, with the PPC here in Canada, who's, we've got this ridiculous election going on, and I don't support it, and I wouldn't vote if my life depended on it. However, those of you who are voters and those of you who still think that there's some potential for change there, go out and look at PPC, because they're growing really fast. Okay, I think they passed what they call the NDP party here last week. Okay, so they got the Liberals with Justin Castro Trudeau, and then the Conservatives, which are two sides of the same wing. The way they're talking, there's nothing really that different. They're both still speaking and spewing the globalist agenda. So I wouldn't recommend either one of those goofs. But I would recommend, if you are still in that realm of the legal jurisdiction, thinking that you can make a difference and hoping that you can make a difference, and I'm hoping for you too to make a difference, then go and take a look at PPC, okay? Because they are growing fast and there's some conscious common sense coming out of that man's mouth.
All right. Well, that was a mouthful for sure. Lots of information there. I'm thinking about, speaking of, going back to the question that I asked you about projects and some of the things that are going to be part of the funding of this current thing that you're working on. I'm also wondering about the city of Calgary. You become mayor, and all of a sudden you start to create projects and get funding from the same people that are funding the projects that you're currently, in process in. And all of a sudden you start seeing that being rolled out into Calgary. We've mentioned it a couple of times on this show before. You've mentioned, is it the green line or the G line? What do they call that for the C train?
Yeah, the green line. Yes.
It is the green line. Okay.
Not the green mile.
No, not the Green Mile. I want to watch me a flicker show. But no, I want to, yeah, I couldn't resist that. That was right there. It was, you teed it up. It was awesome. But what I do want to talk about is, are there other projects? Are there other things that you have in mind at present? I know that you're open to new things depending on what the people want, but is there anything else kind of flowing around in your heart, in your mind about things that you want to see in Calgary and would love to create projects around?
Well, let's blow a few people's minds for a minute here. Let's just open this up, okay? Because
I like the sounds of that.
I've traveled on what I would refer to as a maglev train in China. Okay, so maglev being
the book. It's in the book.
There you go. So these trains kind of pick themselves up a little bit off of the tracks. Okay, they're not running on the tracks like these old trains, and they move along at 300, 400 kilometers an hour. These babies, and that one in China does that, right? And it's so smooth. There's none of this back in your seat when they take off. They just keep going up gradually. You can keep your wine on the table and take a look at it and watch the screen where it says the speedometer, and it goes from 30 to 60 to 90 kilometers an hour to 120 up to 300, and that glass of wine just sits there. You know, it's amazing, like these things. And that's old technology, right? That's 20-year-old technology already. Now I got a proposal this morning. I get these on my phone all the time for a hydrogen powered unit, maglev again, way more speed, moves into a different area of the track, like it's just got legs down on the track, right? And then on the track itself are lines for communication, for water, for different things, all in this same track. Like I mean, I could share this little video. It's beautiful, and it's a company that is definitely ready to go. These are multi-billion-dollar projects that are available and that are there. So the one that I've been looking at property for here in Calgary that I'll throw in here while we're blowing people's minds is a tower, okay? So we've got these towers in Calgary, like the Bow Center, right? $1.4 billion tower, built in a nice big curve to collect the energy from the ether, right? Believe me or not, you guys can just click on, leave the channel if you want to now, but these towers, no, sorry. Okay, sorry, sorry, William. Stay with us as we blow your mind.
It's getting good. Come on, don't send them away now.
So anyway, these towers that are collecting energy and putting it into the grid rather than taking it out to turn their lights on, you know, that kind of stuff, and the communication capacity of these towers, Wi-Fi, I'm talking about, is incredible, and they use them for that, right? So I've got a photograph of one, and I've seen them myself in Shanghai. I saw one that's I think it was 115 stories. The Bow Center here in Calgary is 60 some, right? So this one was almost twice that tall in China, and it moves up like this too. Like it's kind of got a design where it looks like it's curving. It's kind of like our new TELUS tower here in Calgary. It looks like it's curving, but it's just the way that the architects build it, right? So this one that I've got on my phone that I'm not going to share right now because everybody will still think I'm nuts. It's a drawing, and it's an architectural drawing. This thing goes up way higher than that, okay? It's up into the 200 floors, right? Kind of like what we're talking about in Dubai, okay? If anybody wants to doubt me, go take a look at a few pictures of Dubai. So I'm looking at property here in Calgary to put one of these babies up. How does that sound, William?
Okay, it's official.
Okay.
My mind's blown. But it made me think of one other thing too. I'm a big fan of the Foster Gamble Thrive series, movie 1 and movie 2. Have you seen both of those movies yourself, by the way?
Yes, thank you. I have.
All right. So in movie 2, they talk about electricity that's being generated out of the air, like from radio frequencies. There's this fellow in Nigeria, of all places, that created this, for those of you who haven't seen the movie. And it would be really cool if, and I've heard, you know, a little bit more zanier things, shall I say, from, you know, some of the more artistic type of propaganda / media, alternative media suppliers, who says that you can get electricity inside of a generator that can fit inside of a shoebox that can power like a whole city or more. So anything in that vein at all, electricity generation coming down the pike that you can see or would like to see?
Oh gosh, like all of it, William, it's all available to us. I mean, we've been stuck in the petroleum and industry for how long, and coal and crap like that, dams on rivers. Don't need any of that stuff. Like it's just ancient technology, you know, like there's so much more coming out. And I want to remind people, because I can talk pretty cocky at times, okay? And it might come out, William, don't do that. So anyway, so when I say we're looking at property, I'm not coming at it from a Donald Trump. I'm Donald Trump and I'm going to build a fucking tower here in Calgary. No, I'm talking about funding that for someone, okay? Bringing that asset-backed funding through for that. I'm not going to own anything. I'm not going to talk about Kaiser Towers or any shit like that. Have I got an ego? Of course. We all have egos. Otherwise, we wouldn't communicate with each other. We're trying to either manipulate each other into some, you know, greedy, ridiculous corporate idea, or we're trying to manipulate each other into some benevolent, wonderful idea. Still manipulation. So that comes from ego. We're still trying to change something about somebody else. And I'm trying to manipulate you into believing that benevolence and abundance and love and kindness and peace and harmony and love and all those things are here for us right now. Okay, that's what I'm trying to manipulate you into believing, because it is available to us. I live in heaven. I live on heaven, and I'm not fucking going back to hell.
Yeah, some of us are still going through hell, I think, but you know, it's a time of transition for a lot of people and exciting times. But you said something that made me put on the brakes, because, you know, let's face it, come on. We know Alberta is like the place for oil in this country. Like Alberta is the rich province. It's the one with all of the great resources. It's got the oil. Alberta is oil. Alberta cannot exist without oil. That's what I keep hearing. And yet now you're saying, just chuck that out the window. We'll do something better. So what are we going to do with all those unemployed oil workers?
Well, we're talking transition, William, when I talk like this, you know, like it's going to take time. And the amount of infrastructure that's out there, yeah, what are we going to do with all that if we don't, you know, transition it? So yeah, it's going to be a transitional period. So don't worry, all you oil field guys, I'm not out to get you. Like, I want you to still have your fun and do your thing and buy your quads and your freaking motorcycles and all that stuff with your high-paying jobs. I'm not here to take anything away from anybody. It's just that know that there's more coming and more opportunities for you that are engineers, for you that are creative, that want to do something else rather than, you know, wrap that fucking chain around that the pipe that comes out of the ground there and put another piece on. My father did that stuff too. I never got involved in the oil business myself, but if you're sick of it and you want some nice job building a maglev train rail system, or, you know, a pipeline that runs in the track itself, or there's going to be lots of jobs. There's going to be lots of things to do if you want to do that. So it's all about adding to, brother. That's all.
And I cannot miss this opportunity as well, because one of the things that's probably biggest on your platform is that good old comfort income. And for those that haven't seen us for a while, I'd like to revisit that with you again, just so that you can let people know What do you mean by comfort income? Can you tell us again, and especially for the new viewers?
Again, William, that's transitional, okay? It's not going to bounce into this thing unless the people of this nation throw all government out the door, okay? All government. And then somebody steps in and says, I'm the leader of the new republic, or I'm the mayor of Calgary, and I'm going to do this because we have the funding capabilities to do it. That could happen, don't get me wrong, and it certainly could happen here at the mayoralty race or mayoralty candidacy situation. But comfort income to me is admitting that there is no lack, okay? There is no limit to the amount of funding that is available. And whether that was in their credit system where they limited it because they're corporate and they're pyramidal and they're garbage talkers, okay? There was no limit to the amount that they could credit and create or manifest in that credit system. So they had the capability, and in many nations it's like that. Here we're closer than the United States. The United States doesn't have the same social programs as we do. But then they blame that on socialism or communism or crap. You know, it's just all about division, right? But the fact of the matter is that there is no such thing as lack. There is no such thing as limit when it comes to value or the amount of credit, cash, or collateral-backed, asset-backed funding that can come through. There's no limit. So why on earth wouldn't every human being have their comfort? Tell me. Like, you know, put the question in the box below. Tell me there why that should not happen. Okay, that every human should not have their comfort. And when I mean comfort, at this point in time, okay, this reality that we live in right now, that would mean that their home mortgage or their rent is paid, because that's your home, that's comfort, right? And your food. And if you want to add a few things to that, that's up to you. I mean, I'm not here to dictate anything, but giving comfort to every human being when the idea of lack and limitation in the corporate realm is disappeared is just common sense and reality. There's no other way of putting it.
Have you ever had any thoughts of, like you mentioned in the last two answers, that, you know, it's going to be a transition. It's not something that's going to happen, boom, you know, you're in and all of a sudden everything flips on its head and away you go. It's going to be a gradual transition. But have you had any thoughts of the process, of the procedure, or how that might happen, or how you would start? Maybe we'll start with that. Do you have any visions of how it might start that transition?
Yeah, like, I mean, all I can do as a leader and a mayor is offer these ideas, right? And then, you know, democratically, because we're still at this point in time, and in the next few months, I predict we're going to still live in a democratic society. So it's going to be, you know, these ideas that I'm talking about now. I'm not going to change my mind when I become mayor. I'm going to go into council with this same voice, with these same tones, with this same common sense is what I call it, but you can call it whatever you want. You know, I'm not talking about spaceships coming down from some other planet and saving us. Like, you know, I'm not saying that couldn't happen either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying that, tell me what's wrong with what I'm talking about when you consider the fact that there is no lack. There's no lack of anything. We have, you know, however many people on this plane of existence, and I don't know what that number is because I don't believe a fucking word any government says anymore. I'm so fed up with legal jurisdiction governments that I'd use that word. And I'm sorry if it bothers you, but I'm fed up with them because they've lied to us for our entire lives. And especially since 9/11, there is so much deception at the government level. And it's going on to this day with this going on that's going on.
And hopefully it won't be going on for too much longer as well.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know, we don't have a ton of time left, but we do have a little bit of time. Is there anything that happened this week that you'd like to share as well? You know, some other things that you noticed, anything that maybe touched your heart, or some new things that you'd like to address or see, or what kinds of other things happened this week that maybe we haven't touched on yet?
Oh boy, I don't know. We've seen so much movement on the, in the realms of the American government. Once again, Donald Trump making it over to the 17th precinct. It's so funny how 17. And I don't get me wrong, I like it because it's, the letter Q is number 17 in the alphabet, which is, worth contemplating. Don't you like that word? There's a lady, Ramona, a friend of mine on Facebook, came up with that word this week. I thought, wow, that's awesome. Contemplating. I gotta contemplate this.
That is a good one.
So quantum everything, we're talking quantum thinking, quantum reality, quantum changes to what's going on in this plane of existence.
I got an idea. How about quantifying?
Quantifying. I like that one. That's a good one, brother. Keep them going, because they just make up words and patent them, like that DIVOC word backwards. The one DIVOC, meaning in Hebrew language, something about a evil spirit invading you. That's what DIVOC. But the other way around, that word was patented, and there's nothing to back it.
And it was, I understand that was patented like what, 2006 initially, and then it was modified in 2018, I believe. So that
modified as in
yeah, they modified the patent. They did a few tweaks on it, apparently. At least I got that one from Charlie Ward, so that's where I heard that.
So when I talk about the patent of the word, you're talking about a patent of something else, but I'm just talking about the word being patented itself, right? So the only modification they would have added was 19.
Yeah, that must have been it. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. We're having fun with this, and don't you dare ban us, because we love you, YouTube.
We do. We love you, YouTube. Yeah, you're wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, any other parting thoughts? I know that you've got the Aramaic prayer memorized, don't you?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah. It might be a little bit of a shorter show tonight, but if you want to jump into that right now, and then of course just tag your blessing right onto the end, we can call it a shorty but a goodie.
Sounds good, brother. I'm gonna do the little blessing first, and then we'll end it when the Aramaic prayer ends. Okay, how's that sound? So with peace, harmony, love, abundance, and freedom for everyone and everything every day on our minds, William and I are saying abundance, sovereignty, health, love, and euphoria. Forget about that L word that says LACK. That one was patented a long time ago, that word, and it is gone. There's nothing but abundance, folks. All right. You got any last things you want to say? And then I'll say the prayer.
I got nothing. I feel like it was kind of a light, fun day today, and we're seeing some changes in what's going on in Calgary, and I'm looking forward to next week, because we're going to be right down to the wire by then, and it'll be interesting to see if this will be the week where Randall Kaiser makes it official, or are we going to have to wait 8 days before we get it make it official?
It'll be this week, bro. We'll get her in there. Okay, so as a spiritual prayer, not a religious prayer, it is the Aramaic version of the Lord's Prayer, as close as I could get from past people that say it to me. And then I added a few lines that you'll recognize. When I add the line, I'll just put my finger up or something. So the prayer itself goes like this, folks. O cosmic breather of all radiance and vibration, soften the ground of our being and carve out a space within us where presence can abide. Fill us with creativity so that we may be empowered to bear the fruit of our mission. Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance with our desire for abundance, sovereignty, health, love, and euphoria for all. Endow us with the wisdom to produce and share what each being needs to grow and flourish, and thank you for untangling the last thread of destiny that bound us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. We love you. We're sorry. Please forgive us. Thank you. Our pleasure to give, to receive, to share, and to serve you, Almighty God. Do not let us be seduced by that which would divert us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of the present moment. For we are the ground and the fruitful vision, the birth power and fulfillment, as all is gathered and made whole once again. We love you.